So when you begin to understand that you are a thinker who is projecting thought, and that law of attraction is managing all of the thoughts that exist and is bringing back to everyone equivalence to the thoughts that they are thinking, it makes you want to begin to pay attention to your thoughts. However, paying attention to your thoughts makes you crazy because there are so many thoughts. How do you even decide what thoughts are the right thoughts? So, as people upon your planet, you gather together in groups, and you often come to the incorrect assumption that just because more people think this thought, it might be or it must be the right thought. And we're wanting you to understand that the thought that is right for you may not be the thought that is right for someone else, because there are factors that are only about you that are not about anybody else. You are unique creators who have come forth with unique intention from Source. So the way you begin to understand and manage your thoughts is by understanding this very brief story. We're going to give you the story of your origin, and we're going to bring you right up to speed with who you are right here and now. And we are going to say to you in a way that you will never forget how it is that you have come forth into this environment, how it is that you can understand the thoughts that you're thinking, how it is that you can utilize the guidance system that you were born with, and how you can begin to live the life, not only the life that you intended when you came, but the life that you have added to in terms of intentionality every day since you've been here. So, do you accept that you are more than what we see here in these physical bodies, beautiful bodies? And do you understand that you will be, again, something other? In other words, when croaking happens, we love that disrespectful word, you don't cease to be. You are an eternal being who is expanding and becoming as a result of all that you have lived. So, as you have your death experience, you reemerge into the energy that has been culminating from the origin of that which you are. And unlike the individual clumps that you see here in this room, that you call me, you, me, others, the source within you is not defined by clumps. You don't have souls that have been assigned to you. There's a stream of consciousness that is the headwaters, so to speak, of all that is. But that does not mean that when you reemerge into the non-physical, that you become a very small water in a very big sea. You will always understand your specific identity in the whole that we are calling all that is, or that some call God. So, you existed before this physical body as this source energy that understands well-being, this source energy that has eagerness about life and understanding about the eternalness of that which is life. And a part of that consciousness is now expressed forward into this physical body, just like you planned. You said, I want to go forth into this magnificent leading edge physical format where there is variety and stability. And I know that the variety or contrast will inspire me in my unique, creative, genius perspective to give birth to yet another desire and another and another. And you understood from your non-physical perspective that when the desire emanates from you, someone's rude to you, you want them to be nicer. You're rude to someone, you want to be nicer. You don't have enough of something, you want more. You're sick, you want to be well. You don't have enough money, you want more money. And of course, these are bulky, general statements that we are making, but every nuance of your life causes you to expand into yet still more. And in the moment, even if you are not consciously aware that you are asking, in the moment that you live anything that feels the slightest bit less than, you ask for the more than. In other words, the contrast of this time-space reality causes you in a very specific way to constantly give birth to new desires, just like you promised you would do. And the source within you rides that rocket of your new preference and joyously feels the expansion that you have provided through your willingness to sift through life experience, and becomes the vibrational equivalent of your new idea. And now, this is the part that we want you to hear and remember. You have become more because of that. But in most cases, in your physical body, in your physical personality, in your physical mood and attitude and projection of thought and conversation and behavior, most of you are not anywhere near that expanded part of you. Because most of you are over here still explaining to someone why you deserve that. I should have that, but I don't. I've got it coming, but it's not coming. And then, over time, you conjure the most incredible, ridiculous stories of why you don't have it. I wasn't born under the right star. I wasn't born in the right place. I wasn't born at the right time. Somebody else isn't rooting for me. God is mad at me. I must have been bad in a past life. It's his fault. It's her fault. There are all kinds of things that you conjure in the name of religion, in the name of trying to understand, in the name of philosophy. But in every case, what you're really doing is holding yourself vibrationally with your justification and your rationalization and your excuses about why it isn't better. As you continue to tell the what is story, this is how it is, this is how it is, this is how it is. I don't like how it is, I don't like how it is, I don't like how it is. I'm going to join a group of others who also don't like how it is, don't like how it is, don't like how it is. And we have lots of specific groups of specific things that we don't like how it is. And I belong to many of them. And now we have the online chat groups of I don't like how it is, I don't like how it is, I don't like how it is. And what we're wanting you to understand is that as you lived life, you gave birth to the new idea, to the expansion, to the new becoming, just like you knew you would. And the larger part of you went over there and became it. And when you don't go, you don't feel good. But we want to say something to you, lovingly. You can't not go. You can't not go. When you croak, oh, you'll go. You'll close that gap. We just want you to close the gap in a pre-croaking environment. We want you to close the gap because you want to close the gap. We want you to close the gap because you can't stand to have the gap. We want you to close the gap because it is right. It is natural that you be all that your life has caused you to become. We don't think you should have to croak to catch up with you. We think just a little understanding of vibration, a little understanding of who you are, a little understanding of your own guidance system would serve you so very well. We think if you could just know that the way you feel is your indication of whether you are in sync with who you have become or not. When you feel eager, when you feel appreciation, when you feel that enthusiasm for life, you are moving in the direction of who you really are. But when you feel ornery, when you feel insecure, when you feel angry, when you feel resentful, when you feel injustices happen to you, or when you feel unfairness, when you feel that way, even though you're looking right at something that nearly everybody on the planet would agree with you that an injustice has been done, when you focus in that way, you're focusing in a way that the source within you will never focus. And do you know why that is? Because the source within you only focuses upon those things that it wants to see more of. Because the source within you understands that this is a universe that's based upon inclusion only. There is no exclusion in this universe, which means when you see something you want and you say yes to it, you include it in your vibration and you add unto it. But when you see something and you shout no at it, you include it in your vibration and you add unto it. So every time you say no to something, what you're really saying is, come to me, this thing I do not want. Every time you push against anything, there's a war against drugs and a war against AIDS and a war against poverty. There's a war against crime. There's a war against teenage pregnancy. There's a war against terrorism. And all of that pushing against, all it does is add more unto it. But even more what it does, it causes you, in your pushing against those things you do not want, to prevent yourself from going with who you are. In other words, when you see terrorism or injustice or anything that you don't want to see, and we know there's plenty of it to see, it's not by any means dominant, it's minuscule in the whole scheme of things, but as you focus upon it, and we understand why you would, you came forth to explore the contrast, as you see something like that and you know what you don't want, every time you give birth to what you do want, and the universe is better for it, and the future generations will benefit from it. But in every moment that you stay focused upon what's wrong, you hold yourself apart from what you've been asking for. So the longer you live, the more contrast you see. The longer you live in this physical body, the more you ask for more. And do you get it? That every time you ask, the source within you rides that rocket, and the larger part of you becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you're asking for. So therefore, the longer you live, the faster your stream moves, so to speak. The longer you live, the more this part of you becomes a powerful force. And why is that? because law of attraction is responding to the vibration of all points of consciousness. So you are sort of like a two-headed monster. We mean that lovingly since we're one of the heads. When life causes you to become more, here's this part of you that has become more. You get the sense of it? This is who you were before you were born. This is who the larger part of you is now. This is who you are adding to vibrationally. Do you get it that everything that you see in your physical manifestation form was once and first vibration? Do you get it? That it's a thought first, and then it's a thought form, and then it's manifestation? That everything that you hear, see in this time-space reality, smell, taste, everything that you experience in this time-space reality is nothing more than an exaggerated version of what was once a thought vibration. So here is this thought vibration, the beginning of the creation of more, the expansion of the universe, all tied up in this vibrational escrow, so to speak. We're demonstrating the bigness of this, and here you are in your physical expression. Now, which do you think? So here you are, you're thinking, you're believing, you're knowing, you're wanting, you're living, you're loving, you're hating, you're doing whatever you're doing. And law of attraction is responding to this vibration that is you. Can you get a sense of the vibration that is you in your physical form and the vibration that is you in the wholeness of that which you are? And so now as you lay your newfound understanding of law of attraction over these aspects of you, what do you think has the strongest response? This or this? So, law of attraction's response to who you have become creates the sensation for you of inspiration. That's that feeling of being called to the completion of something. When people say, I want to fulfill my purpose, that's what they mean. When they say, I want to get on my path, that's what they mean. When we say, you want to be a blended being, that's what we mean. And what we want you to focus upon is an analogy that will serve you really well. This law of attraction's response to the powerful, evolving, expanding you creates the sensation for you like a river flowing, a powerful river flowing to the eternal becoming of that which is you. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. So as this non-physical energy is summoning, there is this powerful stream that feels to you like inspiration. And when you turn and go in the direction of that stream, you feel the ease and continuity of your being. But when you don't, you feel the separation, too strong of word. You feel the resistance. So there is allowing, which is going with the stream or current of who you have become, and there is disallowing or resisting or not going. The better you feel, the more you are allowing. The worse you feel, the more you are not allowing. The thing that we so want you to gather as a result of our conversation here today is that you cannot ever separate yourself from this stream. So when we say, you're going. The current, Jerry and Esther went whitewater rafting last summer, and it didn't occur, there were several of them, several high school wrestling teams were on the water with them that day. And Jerry and Esther and their friends, 7 or 8 of them in the same boat. And it didn't occur to any of them, not even the high school wrestlers, to turn the boat upstream and begin paddling. It was obvious that the stream was going to have its way with them. And the river guide told them, this isn't Disneyland, folks. We can't turn this river off. And that's what we want to say to you. Your stream of becoming that was set into motion even before you got here into this physical body and has been added to tremendously ever since you got here into this physical body cannot be turned off. So we're not wanting to say you are without choice, because you do have choice. You can go willingly or not. And when you go willingly, you feel wonderful, and when you don't go willingly, you feel awful. Because this is certain. You cannot hold yourself behind that which life has caused you to become. When life gives you an expanding experience, you gotta go, or you don't feel good. So, we've been calling this gathering many different things. For years, it was about law of attraction. Jerry said 25 years ago to us, Abraham, are there laws like the law of gravity that govern this universe? And we said, there is one law really worth understanding, and that is law of attraction. And that law says that which is likened to itself is drawn. And then later, as we began talking about law of attraction and how you get what you think about whether you want it or not, we watched so many of our physical friends struggling with the idea of it because they could not seem to control their thoughts. Their thoughts were well embedded within them. And we would see so many of you offering a thought or a statement, and then you go, cancel, cancel. You try to suck it back before law of attraction got hold of it. And we realized that, in a sense, as we were calling this the science of deliberate creation, that you were putting so much pressure on yourself to be the deliberate creator. We wanted to explain to you that you cannot help but be the creator of your own experience. We wanted to explain to you that there are 3 steps to the process, and 2 of them you don't even have to think about. Step 1 is ask, and life just insists that you ask all day, every day. You knew that when you came forth. You knew that your life would cause you to ask. And you knew that when you asked, that the source within you would answer. Not only answer, the source within you would literally be the vibrational equivalent of everything that you're asking for. Every amended detail that your day-to-day experience causes you to ask for, the source within you becomes. And then, step 3 is where all of your attention must be. You must find a way, somehow, some way, to bring yourself into vibrational frequency of that which you're asking for. In other words, when you're asking for more money, you must not continue to tell the story, I don't have enough money. You cannot continue to point out the absence of something you want without holding yourself in resistance to something that you want. You cannot continue to tell the story of what is if you want something to change. Because as you tell the story, you activate the vibration within you. But it isn't just that you don't get the money you want or the lover you want when you beat the drum of the absence of it. It's not only about that. We know for most of you that's what it's about. Just give me the money and the lover and then I'll be good. But it's far more than just not obtaining the things or experiences that you want. It's that when you beat the drum of the absence of something that you have become, you tear yourself apart. You don't feel good. And the result is you feel the negative emotion that is the indicator of that, you see. So, it is our desire that you understand that the art of allowing is the process that you want to learn. Law of attraction is at the basis of all things. And the art of allowing is the way you apply your understanding of the gap between who you are in this body and who you really are. It's the way you manage your vibrational gap. And so, maybe the new workshop, rather than law of attraction, which it was called for years, or the science of deliberate creation, which it was called for a few more years, or the art of allowing that it has been called recently, perhaps the best thing to call this workshop is the art of understanding and managing my gap, or living life in the crack, or I'm an eternally expanded being. A few years ago, as Esther received from us the wonderful book, Ask and It Is Given, we said, here's the title. I am source energy, and from my source energy perspective, I make a decision to come forth into the physical form. And a small part of that which is me expresses itself into the physical environment where the contrast and the socialization that surrounds me inspire me in my human form to a new and expanded version of every idea that I consider. And as those ideas emanate from me in the form of preferences or desires or prayers or requests, the non-physical energy surrounds those and becomes the vibrational equivalent of that. And law of attraction responds to that vibrational equivalent with such forcefulness that a stream of energy pulls forward toward it, toward the expanded version of me, and creates a sort of vortex that if I let go of resistance and doubt, if I let go of unworthiness and unfairness and injustice, if I focus upon the brightest spots that I can find in my physical time-space reality or beyond, I will let loose of resistance and the stream will carry me to the exalted expression of who I truly am. Publisher said it was much too long. So he gave it the title, Ask and It Is Given, which says exactly the same thing. When you ask, that which you ask for becomes. The question is, are you letting yourself be the receiver of the fullness of it here and now? We want you to receive all of the manifestations that you're asking for. We want that for you. You are physical beings, you are spiritual beings who live in an environment where that which is spirit materializes. And so it is right that you would be surrounded by these things that matter to you. But it is our desire that as you leave this gathering today, that you have a newfound resolve within you that goes like this. Nothing is more important than that I feel good. Today, wherever I'm going, no matter what I'm doing, no matter who I'm doing it with, no matter where I am, it is my dominant intent to look for that which I'm wanting to see. Because when you start training yourself to the best that you can find from where you are, you gradually, little by little, find something better and 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 better. And before you know it, you become the vibrational equivalent to the source within you. And when you become the vibrational equivalent to the source within you, you begin to see the world through the eyes of source. You begin to hear the world through the eyes of source and smell the world through the nose of source and taste the world. You begin to experience life in the way that you intended. And friends, we got to say to you, now that you know what you know, and we know that you know it because we know everything that you know, and we have imparted to you what we know, and we felt you know it too. Now you know what you know. You can never go back. You cannot be less than you have become and be happy. And so we mean this in the most free way. You have no choice if you are wanting to feel good than to be that which life has caused you to become.